Thanks for joining here this morning. Today we were talking about making insights more accessible using FarmCommand. My name is Chris Kennard. I'm Product Marketing Manager here at Farmer's Edge and happy to be here again talking about how to make the insights more accessible with FarmCommand. And so first off, I want to reintroduce some of the data collection hardware that we're supporting farmers with on a day-to-day basis. Really trying to simplify and pull that information from the different pieces of hardware to different pieces of equipment that are making field passes on your operation and streamline that information into an insight that is going to support your day-to-day business. So whether it's a weather station or a cam plug or satellite imagery, or it's a soil moisture probe, wherever that data set is, we want to make sure that that information is very accessible. And typically when we're talking about accessibility, we're talking about the data set that we are helping you collect, turning that into an insight that is really inside of FarmCommand and inside of the platform, allowing you to utilize those rainfall forecasts or those growth stage models or yield prediction values or crop health information to let you make a decision or take action based off of that information. We do understand that during the busy time of the year that it's not always time efficient to be jumping into a platform and taking a look. And so for that reason, we're able to add in the feature of creating notifications and alerts based off of that, some of that information. So that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to review all of the different alerts and notifications that are available through FarmCommand. And so let's take a look at what's available. First, I want to start with talking about weather. We have, in this case, 5 different weather notifications that are provided by a different method. So you'll see the label on the left-hand side, the method, and then what they do and how they work on the right. So first off, we have rainfall notifications that come via email. These reports on rainfall for the last 24 hours. So essentially it's 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. This connects directly with on-farm weather stations and utilizes the favorite lists that our customers have set up. So of course we have almost 7,000 weather stations in our network. And we have certain weather stations that are assigned to growers as they sign up, but you're able to select favorites that are associated to maybe fields that, or areas of your fields, or just regions outside of your field area that you want to pay attention to. And these rainfall notifications will send you a report each morning letting you know the rainfall amounts on all of your favorites in the last 24 hours. And if none of your favorites had rainfall, you won't get an email that day. The next one down is our weather forecast for the 48-hour. This reports a 48-hour forecast each day. It displays values like the max temperature, the total precipitation, and the expected start time of that precipitation. And it also makes a recommendation of the best spray timing based off of a delta T value. So for those who don't know, the delta T value is an indicator of acceptable spraying conditions. It's not a true inversion value, but it does bring awareness to inversions to make the most out of our applications. And this email of 48 hours are provided based off of the weather stations associated to your account, not necessarily your favorites. And that's the same information for our 10-day email forecast. So looking 10 days ahead, this one is sent each Monday. We look at max temperature, total precipitation, and the expected amounts per day for the precipitation values. Now we're switching into the text messages. We have our weather forecast daily text message, which displays a temperature value, average wind speed, and rainfall if tomorrow is going to have rainfall. So what happens with this case is each day at about 6 p.m., I receive a text message that will inform me what tomorrow's temperature will be, how that relates to today, if it's going to be 5 degrees warmer or 10 degrees cooler, the average wind speed based off of the weather stations associated to my account, and then if rainfall is in the forecast for tomorrow, it will display how much rainfall and if that is daytime, morning, or nighttime precipitation that is expected. So that's something I receive every single day, no matter the conditions. Even throughout the winter, it's very useful for understanding what tomorrow is going to bring. And then, of course, as we get into the busy application season, knowing the temperature, average wind speed, and if precipitation is going to come will be very important. The last text message on this list is looking at severe weather events. So we have a variety of different severe weather events related to temperature, whether it's high or low, so frost or heat, wind speed, so an extreme high wind speed, high amounts of rainfall in a short period of time, and hail. So any one of those instances can trigger an alert that sends via text message or email, depending on the use case there, but more often it is text message to notify where these specific severe weather events have taken place, allowing us to be more proactive on those risks and potentially insurance claims that we may want to move forward with. So again, this is related to all weather stations associated to my field. So it's actually giving me an alert of these events based off of my field rather than the specific weather stations. So let's take a look at some examples of these 5. First off, we have the rainfall alert. So here we're looking at the rainfall value. So this was an actual rainfall notification that I received. We've just renamed the weather stations to be generic for now. Basically, every one of my weather stations in this case received a rainfall alert or rainfall in the past 24 hours. And it shows me the value in millimeters and in inches. So if I had no rainfall again, I wouldn't receive one for that day, and I would receive for as many weather stations had rainfall. Next, we have our weather forecast 48-hour. This one again is displaying our max temperature, total precipitation, the expected start time of precipitation if there was any, the optimal spraying conditions based off of the delta T value, and then we do have a chart that breaks down those 48 hours down below. And as always, we're trying to display this information and be proactive with it. We do provide a link that would take you to the weather area of Farmers at or FarmCommand directly from the email here. Same format with the 10-day forecast email, showing you the max temperature, the total precipitation within those 10 days, the predicted precipitation events per day, and then down below a chart that is describing the conditions for each of those 10 days. Now we'll look at the weather forecast texts. So on the left-hand side, you can see we're forecasting a high temperature of 11 degrees Celsius, 0.9 cooler than today, and an average wind speed of 13.5 kilometers per hour. Now, me being in Canada, I do have mine set at Celsius, kilometers per hour, and then my precipitation is in millimeters, but those units are all adjustable depending on the user's preference. You will notice on the screenshot in the middle and the screenshot on the right, on those ones we are displaying precipitation values. So in these cases, we're looking at 11 degrees Celsius, 2.5 cooler than today, an average wind speed of 34. So a windy day, 80% chance of daytime precipitation, about 6 millimeters for tomorrow. So we're displaying a lot of information if it is relevant, and if there is no rainfall, then we won't display it. And the reason you're seeing 2 text messages in both screenshots is because my farm, we have 2 weather stations installed associated to my account, and therefore I'm receiving 2 text messages, 1 for each station. And now we'll look at the severe weather texts. So we do have a few examples. On the left-hand side, we have the rainfall alert. So this is looking at a rainfall alert of 3 inches or 75 millimeters in 1 day. So that is breaking one of those thresholds and triggering an alert. We have our wind speed alert showing 52 kilometers per hour on that day in the middle. And on the bottom in the middle, we have 19 fields received a low temperature alert, so a frost warning at the end of April this year. On the right-hand side, we have 6 fields received a hail alert between a date in July last year. And you'll notice that each one of those is showing a link to farmcommand.com/smartclaim. SmartClaim is an area within FarmCommand that is listing all of these severe weather events and allowing us to utilize the platform to create a notice of loss and be able to email that directly to an insurance agent to move forward directly with that claims process. Or pull up satellite imagery and start seeing the effects, in most cases related to hail. So we'll switch gears a little bit and talk about notifications related to scouting. So at the top, you'll see crop health change. Now, crop health change is an imagery layer that is sent via email. So all 3 of these are sent via email. Crop health change identifies which fields have had a positive or negative change. When I say positive or negative change, I'm meaning that there's an area of the field that is progressing faster than the field average. That would be a positive change. Or there is an area of the field that is progressing slower than the field average. The crop health change map shows the location and the size of that area of change. Essentially what we are doing here, and I have an example in the next slide to help explain it, but we are taking every image, that satellite image that comes into FarmCommand, comparing that to images in the past, and using that comparison to automatically identify those areas of positive or negative change, sending an email informing on any cases of those instances, and allowing us to have more of a directed scouting. So this email is really bringing awareness to risks within an individual field. The crop health, the second one down, identifies which fields have the lowest crop health relative to NDVI. So in this case, rather than the crop health change, the top one, which looks at individual areas within a field, the crop health looks at our entire farm and tells me which fields of a certain crop have the lowest NDVI. And it could be very basic, just related to the field that was planted the latest has the lowest NDVI, but that's not always the case. There could be something that is more causing a reduced potential within that field overall compared to the others that we may want to investigate. So I like to treat the crop health as an indication of which fields to pay closer attention to, and then the crop health change to focus where in those specific fields. And then the bottom one is a growth stage notification via email. Within FarmCommand, we do have growth stage models. And within the crops that we have growth stage models, we have set critical stages. And from those critical stages, we would send an email if any one of the fields are within 7 days of those critical stages. So it's utilizing the weather station data to make those predictions of growth staging. And when we know that we're a week away from something like flowering in wheat, it's going to let me know that which fields are a week away from that stage, and allow me to be more proactive in scouting those fields, maybe purchasing chemical if it's an application timing, or maybe it's something like changing sprayer tips if we're changing from a low rate to a high rate of fungicide. All of those types of decisions can be supported if we have awareness as to what's going on in the field without actually having to be in the field. So let's take a look at some of these examples. First, we have the crop health change map. On the left, we have the email that was sent indicating 3 fields that had a crop health change. The first one showing 38 acres of positive change, meaning there was 38 acres that was progressing faster than the field average. Because the timing of this is earlier in the year, usually the positive change that is indicated is due to something like weeds growing faster than the field average. So if we imagine a field that has recently been planted, maybe it's out of the ground, maybe it's not quite, but if it is slightly out of the ground, when you think about what would be progressing faster than the field average, in most cases that would be weeds. So weed patches helping us scout more efficiently and maybe spray spot spray herbicide before that crop comes out of the ground or before it becomes too large and we're within that first herbicide pass application window. That's the same one for field 3 at the bottom, 11.5 acres of positive change. But the one in the middle, here's where we're showing negative change. And the example we have on an image is also showing negative change. In this case, we're comparing a June 12th image back to a May 17th image. So there's 26 days between the two that are being compared. We are notifying on 28 acres of negative change. So 28 acres that are progressing slower than the field average. Now, I don't have any pictures in the presentation to show here today, but this was one from my own field. We got this email notification on June 12th. The next day, we walked into the field using the FarmCommand app directly to that spot and found cutworms within this wheat field. So right away, we were informed on some type of insight and allowed us to make a decision on whether to scout and then obviously whether to spray or not. This crop health notification is also available as a push notification to the FarmCommand app, so something that we can also opt into there. Next, we have the crop health notification. So again, summarizing which fields of the particular crop type are in the lowest 10th percentile of NDVI. So here we're showing 2 wheat fields, 2 canola fields, a lentil field, and a soybean field. All of these having the lowest NDVI or in the lowest 10th percentile of NDVI of the specific crop that we're showing for each field. So bringing awareness to which may be progressing the slowest or which have the lowest health overall. Next, we have the growth stage notification, again, informing us when fields are within 7 days of a critical stage. So in these two examples, we are displaying a canola and wheat, so seeing 4 days from flowering, 3 days from flowering, 5, 6 days from flowering. At the top, we do have an example of a wheat growth stage showing the growing degree days and each stage. So early flowering on July 2nd, this is what we would be notifying on. And then down below showing wheat, so being able to see VT, R2, those critical stages that we are going to require potentially some type of application and bringing awareness to that at each stage. Next, we have notifications for equipment. We have 2 notifications for equipment, one via email and one via text. Via email, this is a report on equipment information for a predetermined time frame. So essentially what I'm doing in this example is I'm selecting the equipment that I want to build a report for. I'm selecting a time frame. Maybe it's the first few weeks of May, or it's the entire growing season or planting season, and I want to review tractors. I'm able to understand my acres per hour, my productivity, my engine, working time, idle time, fuel consumed. All of that is created in a report in FarmCommand that I can receive on either a daily basis, a weekly basis, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. So whatever time frame I would like to set, I can pull that information and receive that via email. Now the text message alert is slightly different. This is bringing awareness to what field activity has occurred in the last 24 hours. So again, a text message that I would receive at approximately 10 a.m. each day, letting me know which machines were in which fields for the past 24 hours. So if I want a quick idea of what jobs were completed yesterday, this text message will be helpful for that. And looking at the examples, so this is the equipment report I would receive via email. So again, showing working time, idle time, area covered, acres per hour. We've got speed average, engine RPM average, fuel consumed. Right now it's showing in liters, but obviously available in gallons as well. And then overlap percentage. So at any point, if we wanted to see a total, we can see that at the bottom. In FarmCommand, if I have a date range selected, but if this is sent directly to me as a email, it's going to be based off of the time frame, whether it's the last 2 weeks, last week, or the day that I had preset to receive that email notification for. Next, we have the text message alert. So again, showing that your farm had field activity on fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with a link to FarmCommand to be able to dive further into those analysis. So those are all of the email and text alerts that we send on a regular basis. We do have some bonus custom reporting that we sent out to our customers in 2021. So first we have a weather summary. In this summary, we are showing the grower, the seasonal smart claims summary. So all of those severe weather events, all of the occurrences that took place on their operation, we're displaying on the right-hand side, the top right corner, the seasonal weather summary. So total seasonal rainfall, the max rainfall within a day, min temperature, max temperature, and so on. And we're also displaying the total averages. So if this farm received 16.6 inches in the period of time that was provided of April 1st to September 30th, the normal rainfall for the weather station in that area, based off of 30-year average, would be actually 27 inches. So they were quite low compared to their 30-year average. Then we've got the monthly weather summary, looking at the same information of rainfall, temperature. And then if I jump to the second page, having more summaries related to rainfall and temperature on a monthly basis, and then the chart at the bottom that describes when that rainfall occurred within each month and within each day. So a useful tool just as a summary of the past growing season and what conditions may have related to the crop growth that you had. We also had a customer report related to equipment. So in this example, we're looking at a customer who had 9 combines. It shows at the top the summary of all of the information of working time, acres per hour, average speed, engine RPM, and fuel consumption. And then down below, we're breaking it down, comparing a few different values within the different charts. So whether it's working time versus the productivity, maybe it's idle time versus working time, engine RPM versus average fuel burn, liters per hour in this case, average speed versus average fuel burn. So the different parameters that affect each other and how our equipment and our operators are working from an efficiency standpoint or productivity standpoint. And then again, our last example here, looking at the custom reporting for the fuel burn versus the average fuel burn. So we think about the value of these. Obviously, we're trying to generate insights throughout the platform, no matter what. If we can help be aware, bring awareness to what's going on in the busy time of the year, we can help you be proactive, help you understand what's going on across your operation more seamlessly, and hopefully guide you into the platform to gather more insights from the information that we're sending. Awesome. So I appreciate the time today, everybody. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to follow up with us or your local account manager, and we'll talk to you again soon.